All right, Jenna, do you want to go ahead and kick us off? I think we've got most folks in the meeting. I've got an email from one person that I will help to try to troubleshoot here, but why don't we go ahead and get started?
Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to put faces to names and names to faces. I'm Jenna Conway. I'm Virginia's Chief School Readiness Officer, and I'm very excited to welcome everyone to our inaugural meeting of our Early Childhood Advisory Committee meeting. We've got a full agenda today, but before we get started, I am honored to introduce the First Lady of Virginia, Ms. Pamela Northam, who is part of the reason I am here in Virginia, be able to work with you all to strengthen our early childhood system. But I will attest that this is a woman committed to providing more opportunities to young Virginians, particularly our most vulnerable little learners, recruited me to come to Virginia and has steadfastly for the last 3 years since the election focused on more resources, more supports for Virginia's children, families, and the educators that serve them. So, Ms. Northam, Pam, would you like to say a few words to the group?
I would. It's so great to see you all. I'm just so thrilled and honored to be with you today. And thank you, Jenna. You know, you are my superhero. We just so appreciate all the great work that you've done. And we wouldn't be in the good place that we are today without you and all your wonderful, amazing work, and your great team too. And speaking of teams, I mean, what a terrific team we have in Virginia's Early Childhood Advisory Committee. And you all were appointed because you are outstanding leaders in the early childhood community. You already do so much for this community, and we knew that we needed your voice and your expertise. Your dedication is so important to us, and so we want to make sure that we continue to hear from you. We know that you represent a large, diverse group, that you're only one small part of that, so we know that we will be listening to them through you as well. Speaking of listening, I did, as many of you know, because I came banging on your doors over 6,000 miles across the Commonwealth to sit and listen with Jenna and many others to say, what can we be doing better? What is it that you need? And because of you and our listening to you, we were able to pass transformative legislation this last year. We put more money in the budget for early childhood than ever before, which is just so heartening and so hopeful for me. And I know it is for you too. And your being here today means that we can ensure that that great work continues beyond us. What an incredible legacy for us all is to think that we made a difference in the life of a child, and you all making the difference in the life of so many children. I thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you all have busy lives and many, many challenges today. We're just so very grateful that many of you have held the doors open and kept children safe and learning during this very difficult year. And every place that I go, people are just so grateful to you and to your community. We all know that every child deserves that great start in life, no matter what's happening around them. COVID has just shown a light on things like poverty and racism that rob children of their childhood. But working together, we can all ensure that every child has adequate nutrition, good health care, enriching education, all the good things that add up to a loving home and a good supportive community. So thank you all so very much for all that you do for our littlest learners. And I look forward to hearing from you today and getting to know those of you that I haven't had the privilege of meeting yet. So have a wonderful meeting. I'll be quiet now and leave it all to the experts. Thank you all so very much. Be well, be safe.
Wonderful. Thank you, First Lady. What a great way to start off the meeting. I'd like to promise that we can get her to every one of our meetings, but I can't guarantee that, but it puts us off on the right foot as we think about the charge ahead. Becca, can we move to the next slide? So with that warm welcome, and this I will tell you is a feel-good meeting. I wanted to sort of walk us through our plan for the next hour and a half. So this is our get to know you meeting, and we will take a sort of a step back, and you'll find in the future our meetings are chock full of content, things that we need you to weigh in and advise on as we think about our role in advising the board. But before we do that, recognizing we come from all sort of diverse parts of the early childhood sector, really wanted to spend some time today to get to know each other and to connect on our shared passion. So we all work in different areas. We have different letters behind our name. We have a sort of a different history, and we think it's really important. We have an opportunity to connect on how we all care about kids and what the best possible outcomes from them. So we'll spend some time on an icebreaker and some activities to do that today. We'll then get into the nuts and bolts. We'll walk through some of the bylaws and procedures, the expectation for advisory committees of the Board of Education of Virginia, and just walk through how your work as an advisory committee will work. So we'll kind of take you through those steps. I'll then take us sort of up to the 30,000 feet level and kind of sort of get us all on the same page on where we are on early childhood care and education out of the home in Virginia. And as Ms. Northam noted, we've had a lot of changes in the last year. She's seen a lot of those firsthand as she's visited classrooms across the Commonwealth, but just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page. What's so fantastic about this group is we represent the diversity of our incredible sector, and it's really important that everybody kind of understands how all the pieces fit together. And then lastly, we'll want you to walk out of here with a clear understanding of what's ahead. It's a big year. We've got a lot of things in front of us, and really kind of helping you understand what happens when we'll bring content to you, how that fits into the broader efforts to unify and strengthen the early childhood system in Virginia. So those are our 4 objectives for today. And we're really excited to have you here. And this gives you then a sense of our agenda. So we'll kind of do the convening. Right now, we're in the middle of the introductions. We'll do an icebreaker, which will help us get to know each other. Then, as I noted before, the detail, then the 2 presentations, and then we'll have some time for questions and discussion. We will try to be good at keeping it to the hour and a half. I know folks have back-to-back Zooms and sort of family and parental responsibilities the best we can, although I know we'll probably get excited about learning more about each other, and so we'll try to go fairly kind of be brief on the latter items so that we have enough time to really connect. But whatever time we have at the end, we will reserve for questions and discussion. If at any point, I should note that if you have a question or concern, it looks like Superintendent Wolford had a little trouble with sound. Feel free to use the chat. We've got Becca and others monitoring that if that's an issue. Now I've got a little bit of an echo. Let's see. There we go. All right. Becca, am I introducing the ex officio or you?
Why don't you introduce ex officio while I get the breakout rooms ready for the icebreaker?
Perfect. Excellent. So this is an incredible group. And so, again, you may have seen this in the letter we noted. We had more than 160 folks apply for the positions appointed. And so we'll get to know each of those members as part of the icebreaker activity. So more to come there. There's a reason we asked for your pictures of you or of children in your life. We also have some ex officio members, and this is important to note. One of the things, the formal responsibility of this group is to advise the board, but it's also important that other key state leaders, particularly agencies that touch early childhood, are also aware of these conversations and what's happening. And so very excited to introduce our ex officio members, if each of them want to sort of say a brief word, from our Secretary of Education, Adif Carney. Adif, do you want to say anything?
Hi, Jenna. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on. Thank you for the new ECAC team coming together. It's great to see all the beautiful faces. I think definitely the best looking people work in early childhood space for sure in the Commonwealth. But I'm just so excited the last 3 years to work with the First Lady and Jenna and the rest of the gang on all the work we've done in early childhood. And I know we have a lot more to do and stuff. So thank you just for letting me tag along in this effort. Really, really appreciate it. And you have the full support from the education team on this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Secretary Carney. Next we have from the Governor's Office, the Secretary of Health and Human Resources, Dr. Daniel Carey, who has a very busy schedule because, as you know, we're still in the middle of a global health pandemic. But thank you so much, Dr. Carey, for joining us. What would you like to say this afternoon?
Well, thanks so much, Jenna, and it's a pleasure to be amongst this group and also to see so many of my colleagues, Gina Berger, who's with DSS now, but was in our secretariat as deputy, and one of my real mentors, along with Duke Storin on early childhood, as well as care and support of children and families. And we have Allison Land from DBHDS as well, and of course, Secretary Carney that we've been working with, along with the First Lady and you, Jenna. So thank you for including me. Really proud to be a part of this group and looking forward to supporting it, but also learning from all of the members. So thanks so much.
Excellent. I believe he's out visiting schools as we speak. He let us know he was going to be a little bit late, but as we noted before, it's important to have not only the leaders from the Governor's Office, folks like the secretaries, but also some of the agency heads. And so we will have as an ex officio member going forward, and I think he says he's going to join probably about 2:30 today. As you may know, we're in the throes of reopening schools in Virginia, so very busy there, but Dr. James Lane. Also representing the Department of Social Services in place of Commissioner Storin is our Chief Deputy, Gina Berger. Gina, would you like to say anything to the group?
Good afternoon, everyone. Here on behalf of Commissioner Storin. Commissioner Storin and I are both very passionate about early childhood education and in particular access to childcare for our working families in Virginia. And we have been really working closely with the Secretary of Ed and the Department of Ed team and the First Lady's office on this early childhood initiative. And we are just really excited to get to work and to continue this partnership.
Thank you, Gina. Next, we have from the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services, and this is where early intervention is located in Virginia. So these are these critical services for our littlest of little learners, our infants and toddlers who are facing developmental delays and other concerns. I'd like to introduce Allison Land. Allison, would you like to say anything?
Hi, good afternoon. Glad to be here and so thankful to be able to participate. Our focus really is the Part C, as well as the access to the early childhood mental health, which is so integral into these efforts, but looking forward to learning a lot and just happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have at the Department of Health, we have Jennifer McDonald from the Division of Child and Family Health. And so I think a lot of our work will be focused on care and education out of the home, but we know that we have to think about the whole child. And our Department of Health does a lot sort of working towards children and families' health and really thinking about how healthy children are much better positioned to be school ready. Jennifer, would you like to say anything?
Hi, yes. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be part of this group. I am here on behalf of Dr. Norm Oliver, who is in the throes of pandemic work, of course. But I oversee a division in our Office of Family Health Services. My division is specifically Child and Family Health, and we touch a lot of programs that incorporate early childhood, MCV, Title V, MCH. So just really excited to learn and meet new people and form some new collaborations as well. So thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jennifer. And last but certainly not least, very excited to introduce from my office our incredible director of the Head Start Collaboration Office. And so many of you know we have an incredible set of Head Start grantees, early Head Start and Head Start programs across the state. They are federally funded, but we have somebody who sits at the state level who really serves as the ambassador and liaison to our Head Start programs across the state. That has moved in the last year from the Department of Social Services to the Department of Education, and I'm pleased to introduce Tondo Jeffries. Tondo, would you like to say a few words to the group?
Sure, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Very thankful to be joining you today. And Head Start is near and dear to my heart, and I look forward to all of the work that we'll accomplish.
Excellent. With the introductions of the ex officio folks taken care of, I wanted to note that we are about to get into our very fun icebreaker. Before we do that, just want to give a quick heads up of some of the names of the screen. So you've got myself, we've got Becca Ulrich, who you've heard from a lot around this advisory committee. We've got Erin Carroll, Tamala Richardson, Laura Heath, all from the Department of Education, and Edison Tondo to support this work. So if at any point, again, we're monitoring the chat, we're here to take questions or concerns. With that, let me turn it over to Becca to describe our icebreaker and this opportunity to spend a few minutes getting to know each other better.
Yeah, thanks, Jenna. So I have been working to divide you all up into small groups of about 4 to 5 people in each group. So momentarily, we will send you into those breakout rooms where you'll have about 4 to 5 minutes each to respond to these 3 questions. So what are you most looking forward to this year in 2021? Tell us about a child or children that motivate you in your work. And then what excites you most about the Early Childhood Advisory Committee? So we'll be in those small groups for 20 minutes total. You'll see a countdown on your screen when we send you into the breakout rooms. And then when we return, you'll each have an opportunity to introduce yourselves to the full group, share your name, the group that you're representing, and your current role. And then someone else from your group will share one thing that they learned about you during that breakout conversation. So really make sure that you identify who is going to share what they learned about you. And I will flag, since we already introduced our ex officio members, we do have a brief slideshow of ex officio members' childhood photos, but we won't go through and do introductions of them again. So it'll just be our 22 ECAC members. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send everybody into breakout groups. Let's keep our fingers crossed that this works on the first try.